Hello and welcome to this overview. Debtors forms. We'll look at debtors forms and how do we get here. We find on credit at the end, and then there's the debtors option below. So we've got about 9-10 forms for recording debtors transactions. Now the first one is for recording invoices for credit sales. Start by selecting the respective VAT rate on the form, the date. In the middle here, it indicates which account is debited, which one is credited, to which ledger. We've got the debtors ledger, general ledger. We got the VAT ledger and the general ledger at the bottom. Now we've got 3 entries in the general ledger. That one goes to the debtors ledger, and these two go to the to the VAT ledger. Now in the top box, we select which debtors account it is. Now 5, 0, 3, and 4 are not yet named. And then here we've got income accounts. Income accounts ranging. These are only income accounts. I think they start from number 1 up to 20, although we have an accrued income reserve account as well, but it's mainly 1 up to 20. Select that one, and then now these ones below are pre-selected. Then we type in the gross amount 340. The rest are generated. Narration is typed once in the top box, duplicated below. Document number, top box, duplicated below. And we also have a guide at the top here. We have a guide at the top there. Okay. So when we're done, we click close. We click insert. Otherwise, you either click close or go back. And below that, we got the sales credit note for recording sales returned, overcharges, discounts, and so on. Start by selecting the respective VAT rate. Come to the date. Recognize those. You don't have to do anything here. Just recognize them. And then select the account to be debited. Now, which income account should be debited with the refund or reduction, and then which data is involved. Select the particular data, and then of course you type in the net amount, narration, and so on. Remember, there's a guide in top in the question box, question mark, and there we are. Now here we go. This is for recording trade debtors payment. If a trade debtor paid, of course, you select the account which received the money, and you indicate which debtor actually paid the money. And remember, there is a guide up there, and continue with the amount, narration, and so on. Let's go back. Now that's trade debtor paid. It's a trade debtors refund. If money was refunded to a trade debtor, if money was refunded to a trade debtor for whatever reason, this should be the right form to use, and there's a guide there. Then accrued sales invoice. Accrued sales invoice. Now these are sales that were made the previous financial year. They were recognized as sales, but because the invoice was not ready, the recording was not final. This is previous year credit income not properly recorded due to a delayed sales invoice. Yeah, you can read for further information. So you select the appropriate VAT rate on the document, and then select. Apparently, you select only one account here. The rest are predetermined. You select only one account here, and that is the individual debtor. And then of course you type the gross amount, 234. The rest is generated. Narration, type once, only once. Oh, it should be, normally it's a number. And remember, oh, there's a guide here. Okay. And then we got fixed assets, dispose on credit. This should be the form. Debtors check dishonored. If a debtor's check bounced, this should be the form. There's a guide up there. So now the form, the check bounced on which account? That account should be credited. And of course, we debit the debtor who sent the bounced check. And then we look at the bad debt written off. It depends. Was there VAT on the debt or not? So this one helps us to specify that. Assuming it was T0. There's a guide here on how to use the form. And then the bad debts account is pre-selected. And then we only have to select the individual debtor whose account is to be credited with the dishonored check. And we type in the net amount and continue. Remember, there's a guide up there. And that's it. And then let me see. This one is for adding or modifying debtors. Now let's see. Let's use the one on online. Let's use the one online for this illustration. Just a second. Is it set? Yeah, this is the one online. So we go to debtors. Not the opening balance, but modify debtors. So we are now saying that we want to customize account 503. Our data is called DEF. So when we update the account, that name is found on all debtors forms. Come to debtors, any of these, let's say trade data paid. And yeah, DEF is already there, account 503. It's the first one alphabetically because they're normally arranged alphabetically. Now after the end of those named alphabetically, then we come to the numbering. And the last one is the data opening balance. Now, when we use the general ledger, the general journal to record opening debtors, we record the total amount for outstanding debtors, and the amount should be debited to a suspense account. We shall identify the suspense account. Let's see, that is suspense. Okay, let's see on the list here. What's happening? Oh, the list is here. So that should go to suspense. Let's see, scroll down. I think that is suspense 4. Okay, so that is where total amount owed by debtors is posted, actually. So in that case, we record it as a positive amount to be debited to that account. If you want it to be credited, then you record it as a negative amount. So the multi-journal is one of those that doesn't give precise details on how the transaction is done. It's the way you record the amount that determines whether it's debited or credited. So after crediting that suspense account, that's suspense 4. And when we come to debtors here, data opening balance, we've got our suspense 4 here. That should be credited. I don't know what amount was that, assuming the total was 234. So the suspense that was debited is now credited, and that amount is transferred to the debtors control account. So the amount is transferred to the debtors control account and the individual debtors account. We've got a guide here, and then you enter the rest. Well, this is already entered to save time, and that's about it. So that brings us to the end of forms in the debtors module. Thank you.